everybody. How's it going? It's been a while. It's been a couple of months almost, I think. Me and Ben have just been incredibly busy with trips, and I've had a bunch of projects that need to be attended to, and things have not been working out the best. So, in my small moment of like, oh my god, we should record a podcast. I hear that Ben apparently broke his ankle and neck and is kind of dead right now. So he probably could have recorded, but you know that I don't really care about that because that allowed us, me and this lovely lady that I'm speaking to allow our own little podcast. I guess I am just the crossover guest host for new people, which I'm okay with because I do love a good crossover. So, this is Flick Your Bick with Ben and Nick, except without Ben, because today's guest is Emma Carr, which I just remembered what her last name was, which is great, because I forgot, because I am a good friend. So, welcome to the podcast finally, Emma.
Well, thank you. It's about
How are you
time.
today?
I'm good. This has just been the longest week. Have you not felt that?
Oh my god, totally, girl, I totally get you.
I just feel
My
like
god.
everybody today was like, it's Friday, right? I'm like, God, it better be. This has just
Dude.
been the longest week.
Dude, when you have a job where it's literally take out staples and scan papers for a week, and on top of that, the week already feels like it is on top of that dragging more. It's pretty shitty. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty shitty. Oh boy. I wanted to ask,
Okay.
how do you have your hair up right now?
It's actually down.
It's just down?
Yeah, it's all wavy.
I must say, I'm a huge fan of your big hair. I think I've told you that before, pretty early when we met first. It's very silky, brown, smooth, but it's also curly, which is very, very pretty. I've recently experimented with my hair, and I learned a new hairstyle. I guess. I guess it's called the half up, half down. You may have heard of it.
I've been known to do
You
that.
have not heard. Oh, okay. So you have heard of it. So, yeah, I dig it. The only problem with it is that it being winter, my hair gets all staticky. I have like really thick hair, and also at work, I have like a Bluetooth headset, so that kind of if you have long hair, it kind of gets everywhere. It's kind of itchy, and I freaking hate that. So I'm getting used to it, but I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel like a Viking with my hair up that way because it's long. I just feel super manly with it. I'm not sure if girls feel like strong, muscular Viking men, but maybe they feel like strong, muscular Viking women. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my butt right now.
My boss has hair down to his shoulders, and he wears high buns and braids and stuff. He's a very, very smart man, and he said that having like long hair makes him like feel like better about himself in the morning, and it's a really cool, like he vibes with it pretty hard, and he's really fun to talk to about it.
So how long is Ben's hair now?
It's like, oh, I don't know,
because he told me that he was growing it out, and when I heard that, I'm like, cool, another bro with long hair. But what I was really thinking was, come on, dude, that's my thing. I've been growing this for 3 years. That's my thing.
I know. He's like, I need to be a part of this. I would say it's like the length of, if he like greased back his hair, it would have like a decent amount of poof into it.
Okay, are we talking, is it to his shoulders yet?
No, but it is really long in the back. It's very mullety.
Have you seen middle school pictures of Ben?
That's actually my work background. My desktop work background is.
That's perfect. So is it? So you know what that hairstyle or that length is? Is it kind of close to that?
Oh yeah, we're at that point.
Oh god.
And it's
I don't know
like,
about.
adult Ben, but he has the same 7th grade hairstyle.
I don't know about you, but in our class, when people got long hair, everyone had like the mushroom kind of hairstyle, long hair. Did people in middle school have that for you?
I think I did. I'm sure I did.
Oh, terrific. I actually haven't seen any younger pictures of you, although we've only known each other for like maybe 2 years or something like that.
I was the kid with the bowl cut.
You had a bowl cut? Really?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
there's like all these pictures of me, and I just had like it's embarrassing, but I would wear like my brother's clothes because I always thought his clothes were really, really cool.
Sure.
And then I would get a bowl cut. So it was like, yeah, my parents had 3 boys. So it was like when they call me Emma, everybody was like, wow, they're really progressive. Like, yeah, gender has no name.
I would just were your bangs like straight, cut straight?
Yep.
Just horizontal line?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Just straight across. Like simple salad bowl would come out and just get hit over the head with it.
I would probably be very confused if we grew up together and I saw you with that haircut. I'd be very, very confused about my sexuality, I would imagine. Anyways, what we like to do on this show, besides talking about a hair, is we like to talk to each other and see, since this is kind of the basis of this is talking and reconnecting with friends that we haven't seen in a while, but a way we do that is saying, what have you been up to for like recently, the past week, whatever, and we call that flicking, what have you been flicking your bick to? So, as the guest, you can go first. Emma Carr, what have you been flicking your bick to?
I have a really good one for this because we both play it now. I am not a video game player.
Oh, yeah! Okay, sorry, that was really weird of me to say, but okay, sorry, do continue.
And I just got really into Stardew Valley.
And
it is, oh my gosh, it is so addicting, especially if you just had a really long day and you just pop it in and you're just like, I'm going to fish. I'm just going to go fishing.
Hell yeah.
I'm just going to water my plants out. I'm going to go fishing. And it's so relaxing and it's so nice. I will say my only thing about it is roughly this town is 28 people, right? Because that's part of your first task. You have to meet all 28 people.
Yeah.
If a town has 28 people, it shouldn't take you 40 minutes to walk to the beach. I get so mad about that. I'm like 40 minutes of my day I spent trying to walk to the beach and just, I get so angry. And it's like an unreasonable anger. For
those that don't know, Stardew Valley is a video game that's similar to Harvest Moon. Basically, what you do is it's basically a slice of life game where you are a farmer and you pretty much just live life. You can get married, have kids, meet the townsfolk, fish, grow crops, raise livestock. A lot of people don't really like those types of games. I love those types of games. So when I saw that you were playing Stardew Valley, I freaked the frick out because one, I know no one that plays this game, and two, I would never have expected you to play it of all the people that I know.
I do not like video games. I do like the Switch though.
That's cool.
I play like Mario Tennis. I'm not very good at that. And then Stardew Valley, I'm just like addicted to. I'm like, all right, just going to bed. I'm trying to get this guy named Elliot who lives in Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Keep getting daffodils and stuff to give to him every single day.
Is that who you're going to marry then?
I'm trying. I'm working on it. You know, it's taken a while.
We're instantly like ostracizing like everyone that's listening, every demographic of this. But I got to admit, personally, I always thought Elliot was kind of a douche, so I never really liked him that much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought like there's one guy that just talks about skateboarding.
Yeah. Oh shucks, we need to play that online sometime because that sounds super fun.
For sure.
Let's see. What I've been flicking my Bic to recently, I have been pretty busy with a lot of coincidentally a lot of video games. I won't bore you too much with what they are, but there's just been a lot of things that have been coming out, a lot of things that have been has my interest, and just trying to balance which is actually, I can turn this into something interesting. Actually, is I can turn this into a question for you. A lot of it's just been a lot of cool things I've been really into, but it's just a challenge to balance everything. Like on top of, other responsibilities and work and other obligations, it's just really hard to find time for yourself to do the things that you want to. Certainly, you will always make time for things that you want to do, but when you have a myriad of things to do, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices some places, and that just sucks. It really does. But yeah, do you have any way to yourself that you balance that out?
No, it's been really difficult lately just trying to squeeze in everything you want to fit into a day when you have so many things you want to get done. I'm reminded of this comic that I saw, and I wish I could remember the name, but you have like all your stuff stacked up and you're like, oh, how can I fit more video games into it? And you see him slowly taking the box that says sleep off the top of it and replacing like more video games or more reading.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's been such a long week. I've been staying up to just try and get as many things done. Because I feel like I get home and I'm just like, all right, gotta cook, clean, work out, and then I want to play like my games or watch movies or something like that. And I think it's been like, I have to have a timer for things because otherwise I'll run it into the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could be okay with not sleeping that much. I need sleep, otherwise I won't be able to function. I will fall asleep just randomly, and actually, if I don't get good sleep, I'll start breaking out in zits and stuff. It's no buenas, and yeah, and I just feel a lot better once I get good sleep. Like, I don't like taking naps because that just ruins my sleep schedule, means that I won't be able to sleep when I'm supposed to. So I will do almost whatever it takes to not take a nap, which really sucks.
So I think I'm a bit weird and against the grain in this. I could probably function okay on like 2-3 hours of sleep. Not need a nap, not need anything. I'm also one of those people that gets up at one alarm.
Oh yeah. I'm the same way.
I really don't need like all the alarms set, and like I'm not a napper either. I just think about everything that I could be getting done.
Right.
When I was in college, it was like my freshman, sophomore year, I would nap all the time, and now I think like junior, senior year, and even into now, I never nap. If I do, it's purely accident.
The only time I will actually nap is like on the weekends or when I know the next day I don't have any obligations to really be somewhere where I don't care about my sleep schedule. Actually, during the weekends, I may take a nap because weekends, I gotta stay up really late and be really cool.
Yeah.
And I'll do that. Then I'll just be super tired and take a nap over the weekend. But after that, then I'll make sure to be good on my schedule, which is going to suck because daylight savings time is coming up, and that's also not good.
Oh no, I'm already not looking forward to it.
Yes, we lose an hour, which blows. So
I'm
gotta
going to
prepare for that
be
shit.
awful at
Yeah.
work.
Oh boy, yeah, not looking forward to that. So, now that we've gotten a little bit warmed up, we got some loose lips. You know what they say, loose lips sail ships, something to that degree. I don't remember, but we can start the episode now. Yay! So, Emma Carr, you are a fascinating specimen specimen, if I do say so myself. I can't remember, when did we meet? It's been 2 years since we met, correct?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember because it was me and Abby went up to go visit Ben, and you were with Ben in his in that apartment, and I remember driving back home with Abby that night when we first met you. You're very quiet, which I totally get because weird new people, my boyfriend's friends that I've never met. Yeah, that's super weird. I remember on the ride home, I asked Abby like, "So what'd you think of Ben's girlfriend?" And we both agreed like, "Yeah, we like her. She's really quiet. We didn't really get too much out of her, but yeah, we liked her."
Do you remember? So you had come out because Ben had just gotten Ellie.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So you had just met Ellie when she was a wee little puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had just said a bunch of embarrassing stories to you, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be quiet to you guys. And you guys like, oh, she's quiet. Yeah, she probably said a bunch of dumb stuff. I don't even remember what I said, but I'm sure it was dumb. But that was a really, really fun night. I remember that.
We played Cards Against Humanity for a couple of hours, if I do recall.
Wait, that's one of my favorite games. I'm sure we did.
Mm-hmm. We usually
we
tend
got
to
pizza
play that one,
and then
yeah. So, other than that, I know a little bit about you from just asking you straight up, or from word of mouth, or just you talking to someone else about yourself. So let's start at the
like
beginning.
Eavesdropping?
Yeah, kind of stuff like that.
I've been eavesdropping about you.
So, you grew up in a small town in Nebraska, right? Someplace that I'll always forget.
I did. I grew up in Johnson, Nebraska.
How far away is that from Omaha?
From Omaha, it's about an hour.
An hour? That's kind of the middle northern part of Nebraska, isn't it?
It's more south.
Oh, I was totally the wrong direction.
I was gonna say, Johnson is about 20 minutes from the Missouri border. So I would say if you're trying to find Johnson, look at the Missouri border and then just kind of go from there.
Sure,
you won't find it on a map.
And you had your town was less than 500 people, right?
Just 300.
Less than 300. Wow. A lot smaller than I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking. No, wait. Your graduating class was 30, right?
19.
19. Wow. I'm like 0 for 6 right now. Jesus. My first mistake was forgetting your last name. So yeah, that's gotta be.
You can't forget it again.
That's gotta be quite. That's definitely a unique way to have your formative years growing up. I'm sure that when you went to college, that was that a culture shock for you at all?
I think the biggest thing was driving. I hadn't really ever driven in a city before, and I think this is a really unpopular opinion I have. But I feel like I'm the reason that people need to take driver's tests more often. Because I took my driver's test in a place that didn't have a stoplight. So, obviously, we did things where it was pretend that you're at a stoplight. And it's okay, And granted, what to do at a stoplight. But the biggest thing was, there are so many people on the road. I do not know how to drive. My town wasn't even paved. We had... essentially cobblestone road, and you can park in the middle of the street. There was no structure. So then coming here, I'm I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. But I wanted to go to a bigger school, going into college. I knew that I didn't want sort of the smaller town, close classroom feel. I was I got that already. I'm going to go to a bigger school, where I can meet a lot more people and get exposed to a lot more things. So it was a culture shock because I'm like, oh, wow, a lot of people are into a wide variety of things instead of just farming, you know, because that's what my school is into. Like, the FFA club was like the biggest club we had, and I was not a part of it, and I felt bad. Like,
no, absolutely. I definitely have heard that, but no, that's another thing we have in common. Well, actually, I get very anxious when driving in a city or like a heavily populated area. Like I get very very anxious driving around. So yeah, I totally get you there. But I I definitely would not be so inclined to go somewhere without the wonderful magic of GPS. I definitely would
oh
be
yeah,
whew, I'd probably be definitely dead by now. Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I was thinking about this today of like GPS is such a big part of my life that if somebody was like, "Oh, can you tell me how to get to your work?" I would literally be like, "All right, pull out your phone, type in this address, and follow what it says."
Right.
Like, if people ask me directions, I will be like, "Do you got a phone?" Type that in and follow what it says because I'm gonna be like, I have no idea. Like you just, it's weird to me if somebody asks you for directions now.
Sure, yeah,
It's
yeah.
so common to have a GPS in your hand.
Yeah.
So if
Mhm,
somebody's like,
mhm.
"Hey, do you know where the Whole Foods is?" I'm gonna be like, you pull out your phone, dude. Like,
I'm just gonna
you don't got to
I'm just
talk to
gonna
people.
point. I would just point in the direction. It's over that way.
I'm just kind of yeah, throw a rock, yeah, you'll hit it. Like,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I think that if given in a dire situation, I think if I only had a map, I think I'd be able to figure things out. But yeah, definitely GPS helps a lot, quite a bit. I definitely do not have I don't want to say a good sense of direction, more like I I either overestimate or underestimate getting to a location. I've never if I go to a new location and I'm driving there, I never make it to the right parking spot on the first try. I either like drive past it or I turn right before it. I'll never hit the mark ever. Oh
I will
boy.
always be like, all right, I'm going to a new place. I'm going to leave 45 minutes early, and it'll
Oh
be like
yeah,
a
yeah,
10
yeah.
minute drive. And I'm
Yep,
like
yep, yep.
sitting in my car for 35
Oh
minutes.
my
Like,
god.
all
That
right, cool.
I am the exact
I'm here.
goddamn same way. The exact goddamn same way. That's freaking hilarious. So, I know a little bit about your family. You've obviously said that you had brothers. I think you have 3 brothers, correct?
I have 2.
2 brothers, 2 brothers. Do you have any sisters? I don't remember.
I don't.
No,
I
so
really
you're
don't. I
okay.
wish.
uh, I forget. Were you the middle child?
I am. The
Oh,
least
that's
favorite.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but
I know. Well, like even my parents are like, we can now talk about it. Of like, yeah, we kind of forgot about you. I'm like, I know this isn't news.
All right, so I forget what your mother does, but I know your father is a preacher. He's a preaching man.
So my
So,
mom is she's a pastor too,
oh,
but
okay,
she's
okay.
also a teacher. So she her primary job is teaching, and she teaches at a community college, Southeast Community College in Nebraska.
Hmm.
My dad just does full-time pastoring.
Okay. Uh, I'm assuming he still is a pastor in your hometown, correct?
Tis. He is, yeah, he's been a pastor there for 10 years now,
Wow.
I want to say.
Uh-huh. How many people are actually at Sunday church for a town that's less than 300 people?
So, this is actually interesting. I was just talking with my dad about this. So, our church, this is, I don't know. A lot of churches are either very old, like hymnal style
Mm-hmm.
in our area. And my dad was like, no, I don't really want to do that. I have musical talent. I have connections and stuff. So he brings in like a live band from a
Okay.
nearby college. He does a bunch of really, really fun stuff. So we actually have a ton of growth
Mm.
versus a lot of other churches that probably only have about 15 to 20 people coming. I think we probably have about 60,
Wow, hey, that's
which
good turnout.
I know it sounds like a small number, but from a town that doesn't have a lot of people, this is very, very good for, his church and being able to do like what he likes to do. So it's growing. And I think it's because my dad was like, I don't really want to sing hymns. I want to play guitar and,
Sure.
do other stuff.
Now, would you say that would you say that your small town is a heavily religious town?
Yeah. Um Very, very much. And I've found this out. We still had like books that, I don't know, books were provided to us by the community. It was just such a small school that we didn't really need like funding for books. They could just like basically you could just sponsor a kid and pay for their books for a year. It's complicated, but whatever.
Hmm.
And a lot of the town would write Bible verses or like parts of scripture in the books that they bought for you. And being a
Hmm.
freshman in high school, I thought it was really, really weird, but everybody was like, this is normal for us. This is like how we
Huh.
go about it. And then I remember a lot of our basketball uniforms had, not basketball uniforms, but like our basketball warm up stuff had
Mhm.
like Bible verses on it. And it was really, really weird. Religion was very much enclosed in the school. It wasn't taught, but it was like there's different priorities. And, one of them was kind of like teaching good morals. And they thought the best way was scripture.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting.
But it's a
Uh
it's a very religious community. Once again, I keep reiterating there's 300 people and there's 6 churches in the community.
wow, 6 churches. Yeah, a lot to pick and choose, I suppose.
Yeah, we have the whole thing of like there's a church on every block.
Huh. Imagine that. It's hear that, Starbucks? Fuck you.
You can't beat it. Let's go.
For God. uh, so I which well I'm not a Jesus man myself. I know there's like a crap ton of different versions of Christianity. So
I
what
think that's the
does
term.
your dad? Which Christian is your dad?
So this is kind of like an interesting thing about my dad. My dad he calls himself a theologian, which is a very lame way of saying that he believes in all sorts of religion, but the biggest thing is he believes in a higher power.
Okay.
My dad has 2 jobs, the biggest thing being a preacher at a church every Sunday. He is also the religious coordinator at a state penitentiary. And to do that, you need to be able to be certified in multiple different religions.
Right.
So he is very knowledgeable about many, many different religions. What he teaches on Sunday is a Pentecostal, which is basically you just believe more in depth about the Holy Spirit, how you always sort of have a being guiding you and pulling you. What people, non-religious, would say, like, trust your gut. Religious people would say, trust the Holy Spirit to, like, guide you through it. And that's the biggest thing about being Pentecostal. You believe in speaking in tongues, which is a prayer language that can be given to you by the Holy Spirit when you feel ready. That's kind of how that works.
Whoa.
It's very in depth, and religion is always very difficult to talk about, but that's
Sure,
where
absolutely.
that's where a lot of religions sort of kind of butt heads on, and I'm saying butt heads, and that's the nicest way to put it.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep.
Is speaking in tongues. There are many religions that this is not how that works. This is, that's not true. And, my dad's church is like, yes, it's true, and we're gonna follow it, and we're gonna use it. And my dad believes that he can speak Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
When he's praying, and that's kind of where that belief comes from. Of he just all of a sudden started speaking another language. Now, I just want to say, we haven't gotten that verified that he's actually speaking another language, and it's not like my very white family is being like, oh, this is Portuguese. No. And nobody's said, that's not Portuguese, but my dad is very much convinced that he's speaking Portuguese when he prays.
Interesting.
It's complicated, but when my dad says it, some people give him quizzical looks, we don't believe what you're saying, and other people are like, yeah, that's cool, yeah.
Huh.
And my dad's a smart guy. I'm not saying that he's a weirdo.
No,
he's a smart guy.
No, I wasn't getting that impression. So would you say that you're fairly religious then?
So I would actually not say that I'm very religious. And
why is that?
I think it's just sort of, I haven't really found one that I like. And my dad, being very, very knowledgeable in many, many different books that speak a religious language, is okay with it. He's like, I hope that you find something you like someday, but I'm not going to push anything on you.
Good for him.
And I think it's because when he was a full-time pastor and we would spend every single day at the church, we just got burnout. And there's sort of the joke about pastors' kids of you are, the media player, you are part of the worship team, you're part of the prayer group, you're part of all this other stuff, and you just get burnout. And it's, every single day is just drilled into you. And then it just, when people started saying things to me, and I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Can we talk about that more? And it'd be like, no, that's just how it is. And I got annoyed. I think I hit about 19 and I was like, I'm just annoyed about this. And then I stand by this statement, and I feel kind of bad saying it sometimes, but some of the meanest people I've ever met have been in the church. Just
there's all types
judgy
of
people. And yeah.
Some people are very set in their ways, and their faith will not be shaken.
Yes.
I from my personal stance on someone that is very strong in their faith, I think it's generally probably a good thing that you or people are worshiping something. I think that's generally an overarching good thing. Just I think more people could probably be a little bit more flexible with stuff.
I think so too. I think we are in a things are not the same. You need to be more flexible if you want to, bring more. The whole thing about religion is bringing people in, making sure that the church is more of, you're bringing the church outside instead of putting it in a building. That's a really, really big part of different parts of the New Testament. And I just felt with some of the churches that I was going to, I was like, this isn't really how they operate. And then I just, you just got tired. And then I also just want to point out, this is, I love getting deep with people, but for someone who I usually don't get this deep with somebody who just learned my last name. It's very quick to start talking about religion.
I just learned it just today. Sorry, continue.
That's it. I love talking this way about people or with people because I'm always curious about what people's sort of thoughts on it are.
Yeah,
and
shoot.
I feel like a lot of people I've talked to, kind of since really just saying like I'm really not sure about this, have been very understanding about kind of like what I say. And then, I think it also helps that I'm still like a pretty good person.
Fair.
I'm not kind of a bitch. I'm a pretty decent person. I feel like if I was very like, bitchy and annoying, everybody would be like, you need to go to church. Like, I think it's just me, kind of like my personality.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and shoot.
But what are you? Do you go to church in Glenwood? I only know of the one that Ben has gone to.
Yeah, there was a couple churches in Glenwood. And a couple like slightly outside of Glenwood. That's considerably a part of Glenwood. I used to go. Yeah, actually, I used to go. Well, technically, I'm part of the same church. I think that Ben's family goes to. I think technically that was the first church. Well, actually, gosh, I've been kind of a drifter
like brick one on the corner.
Yeah.
I can't think of what it's called.
Big like brick built. There's like two brick churches that are like right next to each other. Yeah.
I was not helpful.
No worries. Technically, I did go to, when I was a baby, a church that was like a half an hour away out in literally in the middle of nowhere. Then my mom was more the religious one in the family. Literally, me, my sister, and my dad, we did not like going to church. Eventually, technically, I belonged to the church that Ben goes to. I do even recall hanging out with Ben when we were a lot younger at that church. Have you seen the pictures of us at horse camp?
I don't think I have.
Oh my god. When you get the time, just ask Ben, hey, so you and Nick went to Bible horse camp? Just ask him that, and
horse camp. Oh my
just ask him that, and he'll probably get a good chuckle out of that. There was another church that was kind of, I don't want to say, it was newer. It was like built, so I don't know how old it was. It's maybe like a decade old, maybe. That's on the outskirts of town, in the country. That I went to that church not for Sunday church. I went there for a youth group thing, which I only went there because I wanted to hang out with some people that I have friends in that, and some girls that I liked. That was another reason. That was another reason that made me go to church. So
whatever gets you in the door, man.
Sorry, Jesus. Little eighth grade Nick want some kisses more. So I was part of that church, quote unquote, part of it for a while. That's pretty much all the churches that I do. So my stance on religion, I've never really, I don't know, I go back and forth on this quite a bit. I feel like I want to believe that there is a higher power because I just generally think as humanity, it's probably generally a good thing to believe in something. At the core value of it, I think it's good to believe in something bigger than yourself. I think that's great. It shows good leadership. It shows, or I should say, it teaches leadership. It teaches that, not to be selfish, and it teaches optimism and just being good to one another. I think that those core values and those teachings are great. I think absolutely people should do that. But in terms of religion as a general, as a the things that you do think of church, like hymns, Jeebus, his daddy, and like all those other things, I'm not, I don't want to say I don't believe in that, but I just kind of am like, no thanks. That's not really for me. Just
Mm-hmm.
generally, again, I like the idea of it. I think people should improve on the idea and work on those ideas. Other than that, though, I am not really a fan of religion. So it's a weird thing where I am for it and I'm not for it. But in terms, and this actually kind of goes even broader. Um, I'm a firm believer that you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you're not hurting anyone. So, if you
Yeah.
wanna go worship a Hindu, that's cool. If you wanna go worship Jeebus, more power to you. That's pretty much my stand on religion. In terms of believing in like an afterlife or something like that, uh, I don't know. Like there's so many like theorized what ifs or presumable this is what happens when you die and this is what happens if you die and you believe in Jeebus and that kind of stuff. There's so many different stories and variations about it. For me, I'm just like, uh that's a lot. There are probably a lot of options, like there's the standard pearly white heaven gates, and then there's the whole
Mm-hmm.
no, you just float and you're just unconscious and you're dead, and there's also just like you're really dead, there's just nothing. um in terms of that belief, I don't really know. I kind of want to, I think probably if I were, I think if I knew that, or I shouldn't say knew, but I think I'd be very okay with the thought of like, hey, if you die, then you get reincarnated, and you just live. So okay, sorry, I'm getting super weirdly off track, but uh, I think what would be badass if it once you die, you get reincarnated as yourself again, and you live not necessarily your life again, but another chance for a life, except that you just don't know that you have already died. I think that'd be really cool.
Like the same personality traits, or like maybe in this life you are like a good painter or something? Like you
Oh,
have a
not
different talent?
not even
Or just
that.
like
Just
the exact
like
same person?
not even that. Just a whole reset on your life, and you could be just anything. But basically, you are reincarnated. You may or may not be the same person, but you just exist again, just in a whole new world, whole new universe. I mean, like, uh, the kind of the idea behind that is like, hey, maybe me and you and everyone that we know, maybe we've already died, and this is another version of heaven. And then when we die
Hmm.
again, it just starts over. I don't know. That's just a weird thought I had in my brain that I've had for a long time about that whole discussion on what happens to you when you die. I'd be very okay if that was the case. But anyways, I don't know where this conversation is going, so back to you.
The thing that I actually um and I it's such a touchy subject, but one thing that I really, really enjoyed reading about, I had a professor who was Jewish, and she taught us about a ton of Jewish philosophers. And what really interests me is Jewish people don't believe in heaven or an afterlife. They believe that you live your best life on earth.
Hmm.
So, they pursue things that they want. They do good in the world, and I really enjoyed learning about that because it's instead of being like in certain churches and in certain areas, it's like, oh, the best part is when you die, and it's like, oh, that doesn't sound
Oh.
very fun.
Oh.
And then learning kind of about the Jewish religion, I just want to say I'm not Jewish. I have not converted or anything like that, but it does interest me that they're like, no, we live out our best life and we do good on earth while we can. They're
Mhm.
not saving up and trying to make it somewhere. They're not working hard to make it towards a certain goal. They're like, we're going to work hard to do good while we're here. And I really, really liked that. So that's
Yeah, I
sort
dig
of how
that.
I'm looking at it of I'm going to do as much good and touch as many people and talk to as many people and have, fun while I'm here. Because how do we find out what happens when you die? You really can't. You never can. So why are we sitting here kind of like trying to figure it out and not enjoying ourselves? And I'm not saying like go out and do a bunch of crazy things, but splurge, have fun, do what you want to do, because this really is, or maybe not, your last time at this life. And that's what kind of parts of Judaism say, of do good and make your mark now.
Sure, I can get behind that 100%. I pretty much am okay with I'm okay with any religion as long as you don't try to convert me or like ask me to join. We'll be pretty good. Like I went to a funeral last weekend ago. Or actually it was a memorial service, which what have you say about that? But it was the person that passed away came from a very, very Christian family. And during the memorial service, the pastor was like in the middle of the service and everything. He said, "Hey, if you haven't joined our church or joined Christianity, stand up now so I can convert you." Pretty much, that's pretty much what he said. And I'm like, dude, like, let's focus on the important thing right now. I got pretty peeved when he started talking about converting people.
My dad does that like a lot. I hate it because it's just it's very Have you ever had a friend kind of try to sell you one of those like marketing things? Like, hey, if you just sell this like juice, you could make an extra $3,000 a month, and it's like it's not really that good,
Luckily, I have not.
I feel like women do it a lot more. I feel like I get asked to do it about once a week.
Yeah, I see like makeup stuff.
Yes, that once a week I get asked to sell Mary Kay. I'm just gonna drop it and say yes. It happens all the time. And it's sort of like they really try and get to know you, and they're like, hey, like let's go get coffee and let's go see a movie together, and they're trying to be your friend. And then at the end you kind of find out they're trying to get you to join their business.
That's a lot of work.
And that's how I kind of feel like with what my dad does. Of he'll make this service and he'll say things that get at the heart, like at the heartstrings. And I think the biggest thing coming from a small town is drinking and I would say like cigarette and tobacco usage.
Oh yeah.
So my dad knows if he like talks about it like, hey, who drank this weekend? Who wants to give that up? Give it up and come meet me up. Come meet me up here and we're going to talk about Jesus and you're going to give everything up. It's just like, come on, Dad. Come on.
Yeah, that's not for me.
You can't, like, it's sort of like guilting people.
A bit, yeah.
You're sort of kind of just finessing your way into getting more people to, come to your church. And it's not a bad thing necessarily, but it's just, my dad has done it at funerals. My dad has done it at weddings. My dad has done it so many different places. He does it like at picnics and stuff, and I'm just like, come on, you gotta stop.
I don't know. It just feels slimy in a way. I'm sure, like, absolutely, they probably have no ulterior motives than they just want to help. But I don't know, just the whole notion of it, just it just seems very smarmy. Just seems very trite, like. I don't know. It's hard to put words on it because it is religion, but I don't know. It just feels slimy to me.
I get that. I feel like there's parts of it that are just very wholesome and wonderful and things that you want to bring into your life, and there's parts that it's like, this might be a bit more corporate than you think. This might be a little bit more structured and facilitated than you think. And I feel that way with like the rise of mega churches and the rise of this.
Oh, absolutely.
You have these huge congregations and multiple different things and conferences and stuff that you got to pay $80-$90 to go to. And there's like things that I feel like I can see into,
Yeah,
there's other
absolutely.
Things. Yeah. There's other things that I'm like, this is great. This is what I feel like it's about. And there's other parts that I'm like, nah. this isn't good.
With all that being said, growing up in a small town, being the preacher's daughter, did that initially just being the preacher's daughter affect you? And or I should say, it obviously affected you and your thought process and how you think about things. So I'm sure that brought up some different viewpoints of for you and different upbringings, and I'm sure there's like other people that probably had their own viewpoints and how they saw you as the preacher's daughter in this small town.
Mm-hmm. So just I want to kind of reiterate like people's viewpoints on me in this small town, and I just want to say if you're from a small town, as you are as well, we kind of aren't touching on that. You're from a fairly small town in Iowa as well.
Yeah.
You're already from a small town, so people already know a lot more about you. You know, people knew your address, whether you told them or not. People knew, because they knew your car, and they could kind of follow where you were going. People knew what your parents did. People knew when they came home from work. People knew so much about you already. And then, you know, being a pastor's kid, you're already put under a microscope. Just imagine that microscope just got so much more zoomed in. You can see that thing so much more clearly.
Sure.
And so I remember, like in class, I would say like a curse word, and I remember I got sent to the office, and somebody was like, "Are you okay? Like, is something wrong? Is something going on at home? Like, do you still live with your parents?" And I was like, "Yes, I still live with my parents. What's going on right now?" They're like, "Well, you're a pastor's kid." And I remember being like, and I'm in the office right now talking to you about my family because you think something's wrong because I cursed. And the same thing would happen to Ryan, my older brother, and David, my little brother, as he went to school. And I was around people who cursed all the time. It wasn't a foreign thing. But they never got sent to the office. They never got a talking to. I got like a talking to, or I got my first tattoo, and that's definitely kind of a no-no when you're from a religious family.
Yeah.
But I got my first tattoo, and I remember walking around Johnson, the town square, like really excited. I was showing everybody my new tattoo, and I got like yelled at that I was ruining like our town. I was ruining the morals of my dad's church. I was like, people were gonna boycott my dad's church because of this, and I was like, this is too much. It's a lot. Now just kind of going back to it's a lot on how people view you. You're sort of expected to be this like pristine person, and rarely is that true on any person. And then a lot of people sort of think that like the pastors are raising their kids right. Now, my parents raised me just fine, but you know, I know a lot of other pastors' kids that things did not work out that same way. And
turned into a Footloose situation, huh?
A lot of times that's what happens. Of just this, it's wild. Just how people see you, and then how I kind of like saw the community. My dad and my mom, both being pastors, they always teach you to put things in perspective. And they always teach you to definitely like listen. Always be listening, always be watching, always be paying attention, because people are showing you who they are, regardless of actually telling you who they are. And so I would say I'm definitely a lot more attentive to people, what they want, what they need, what I feel like they need. And I think that's just because I sort of grew up like, you know, in the church. And
right.
And also I hope that other pastors' kids feel this way, but you grow up a lot more sheltered. TV shows, movies.
Yeah.
There's thousands that I wasn't able to watch because there was sin, essentially, in them. And so people were like, "Oh, did you grow up watching Pokemon?" That's the biggest thing I get asked is, did you grow up watching Pokemon? No, that was, my parents were unsure of what it was, and so they wouldn't let us watch it. So I actually didn't really know what it was until I got to like middle school, and people were like, this is a really fun game or whatever. And I was like, what is it? I have no idea what it is. Like, let's talk about it. Or music. I really didn't get into like popular music, I would say, until I got into high school. And I was actually like, I'm going to start listening to what I want, because it was only religious CDs in my house.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I just stood up and I was like, I'm going to listen to, some rock and rap and, folk and whatever I want to listen to, because I now need to know what, like, I want to know what else is out there than all this other stuff that you make me listen to.
I want to know somebody, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Exactly. So instead of becoming like a Footloose situation, your seclusion and your shelterness, it kind of it was a almost like a window to the bigger world, and seeing as your different how you were raised and how you were raised to view things. Looking out the window, you saw there was a world of so many more possibilities. So you decide to explore that, which I mean, you hear stories of children of pastors, going buck wild and that kind of stuff. You didn't jump and crash through the window. You walked out the door and walked around instead of jumping and crashing out the window.
So I think I'm blessed in this aspect of, when it came to this topic and when I actually said, like, I'm going to start doing what I want to my parents, they were very much like, okay, like, we understand. It wasn't kind of a fight. But I think when you're a kid, you sort of think everybody grew up the same way you did.
Yeah.
So it's like, your family didn't serve you like hot dogs for lunch, and you kind of like sit there all shocked, like, oh, you ate something else. You watched this TV show, and you sort of see like, oh, there's an entire world that you missed out. Like, you said it really well. If you kind of see that, you start to see this like tiny peephole, and then the window gets bigger of, this is what the world is offering me. And I've only seen this little tiny speck for so long. And so my boss likes to say this saying of, when you first are introduced to something, you're drinking from a fire hose.
Huh.
And that's what it was. I just started like watching all these TV shows and, listening to all these like really like cool soundtracks and things like that. And I started driving and going out with friends and like really exploring, what life had to offer as a teenager. And it was a really healthy experience for me, because I've had some friends, I'm still very close friends with a lot of pastors' kids, and I've had a lot of friends that are like, I can't talk to my parents anymore because they don't support issues that I would say are very political in this day and age. And I'm very lucky in that my parents are very supportive of certain things, and I can talk to them about that. And, I haven't had any issues with that, but I've had friends that are like, they don't support same-sex marriage. And like, their kids have walked away from them because they don't support things that they're passionate about. And my parents are like, we support it. I'm like,
cool.
That's no problem.
Well, it sounds like you are still on the pathway of just still exploring the world. It sounds like you still have a lot of things that you want to see, and a lot of things you still want to experience.
There's still so much out there that I feel like I missed, and I'm catching up. I'm still figuring things out. I'm hearing what I would say are very, very popular songs for, the first time. And it's kind of a cool experience. Like, Because
I can't wait to see you next time and show you how a cellular device and what that is.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I hope I get to have one.
Oh, jeez. Well, thank you, Emma, for sitting down and talking with me. I feel like I know you quite a bit more. I feel like I can definitely sit down and talk philosophical things with you, and I now know that quite a bit more of your viewpoints in terms of where you've come from and, just wanting to try new things from that perspective, which I think a lot more people should be open to trying a lot more stuff like that. So thank you for sharing. I really, really appreciated it.
Well, you're welcome. I always want to be on this podcast talking to
you. You always just see me and Ben just, talking about dicks or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think that'll about do it for this episode. Do you want to plug any social medias by chance? You don't have to. You absolutely do not have to.
You can follow me on Twitter. I just went viral with a bunch of baseball tweets, so you can follow me on Twitter and see that. Yeah. It said Chase That Car, CARR.
Okay, I gotcha.
I'll have to follow me on Twitter and see me go viral every week now.
I look forward to that. Well, there you have it, folks. You can follow Emma there on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Korean_McQ. I think I spelled it MCQ because I think my sister took our full name. Well, anyways, again, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me, Emma, and I can't wait to talk more about you, about philosophical weird stuff like that.
I cannot wait either. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, and I believe we're going to do another episode right after this with some more hot takes on things.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be very hot.
Hot and
Get a tank top on.
Until then, guys, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye-bye.